Welcome to the studio, it's Froyle here. I'm so glad you've joined me. Today I'm experimenting with silicone oil and it didn't quite go according to plan. I haven't actually experimented much with silicone oil. I decided to put a flipped cup together of some leftover paints, put them in a cup, flipped it onto the canvas. Some of the paints have got the silicone oil in it and ta-da, letting the paint loose. Now the combination of colours are a little extreme, shall we say. I did remember to hit it with my heat gun, so the cells are like, hello, out of control. I'm giving it a tilt, moving it around, and it's creating a really interesting texture. I then thought, what would happen if I throw on some alcohol inks in beautiful brass, splashing it about? What have I got to lose? It's all an experiment. It's only on a small 12 by 12 inch canvas, so if it goes to custard, I can fix it. The alcohol ink, when it hits the acrylic paint, looks amazing. It just goes off with a blast. It splatters all over it. It looks incredible. The colors are very intense, but I'm looking at it going, I don't know that I'm feeling it. I was having a bit of a difficult day and I don't think the colors were really working for me. I think that it's just all too much. I'm finding with the silicone oil, there's so much going on and there's so many patterns and it's all very 1970s kaleidoscope colors that it's just doing my head in. So I scraped off the top section and put on some of the same colors, but just plain colors. That made me feel a little bit better, not so chaotic. I just needed a little bit more space, some negative space, especially because the colors are a little bit psychedelic. I even put on some beautiful iridescent white pearl, thinking that might help. Moved it around, tilted it, then I put a swipe over it. You see, I'm just trying something to make myself feel better about this painting because at the moment it's just not hitting the spot. Of course, with all the tilting to get the composition exactly how I wanted it, it pushed off all of my alcohol ink, and those were the only parts I was actually enjoying. So I added some more to the top, a little bit of splash. I'm just loving this texture. It's quite fascinating to me the way they respond, and it looks beautiful in that metallic brass color. Have a close-up. It's really quite beautiful. The textures are rather lush and thick. The alcohol inks make incredible spots and patterns, and I'm just going to leave it now and see what happens. Is it going to crack with the paint and the alcohol inks? I don't know, man. I don't know. It might have a bit too much paint on the canvas. Oh man, so many problems today, but I decided to leave it alone, let it be, come back when it's dry, and let's see what we've got. So here it is, all nice and dry. Have a look at it. It's not too bad. It hasn't actually cracked, which was really quite a relief because I did give the poor little painting quite a pounding. The alcohol ink texture looks amazing with the metallic brass. My psychedelic colors are not too bad because they're a little more subdued now that they dried. This section's really nice through here. Look at the huge big cells here from the silicone oil, and I've got a bit of a swipe down here. Some of the plain colors, which I needed for my headspace, and a beautiful little splash there of the iridescent white. So what are we going to do with it? Are we going to leave it alone? Yeah, I don't think so. It's beautiful. It's a great composition. The textures are great, but it just needs a little something. So I'm going to put an image transfer gel print on it and combined it into a mixed media collage painting. This is what I'm talking about. Now, if you want to see more of these particular techniques of jelly printing and mixed media collage, have a look at my first YouTube channel, FroyleArt, and you'll find a whole heap of incredible mixed media techniques for paper and collage and all sorts of incredible ways to create different textures. So this is a gel print. We're using a gelatin plate. We're putting on a color laser copy print. That is very important. It creates an image transfer. Once the transfer has dried, I then layer on different layers of paint, spray it with water to create the fabulous textured marks. Has to dry in between the layers, and once all the layers have dried from the different paint colors on the surface, then I pull the print. The image here is one of my fabulous images from my Venice travels, and I have them as a digital collage paper. They're absolutely glorious. I love it. I had such a fabulous time in beautiful Venice. The process of creating the print is really quite simple, but you must wait for each layer to dry, and I have found that color laser copy prints works best for the image transfers. The final layer on the print I pull with iridescent bronze fine. It's a golden color. It's one of my favorites. It looks amazing. And now that I have the fabulous print, I'm going to incorporate this onto my beautiful painting surface, decide how much of it I want on there, and then we're going to glue it on with Liquitex Matte Gel Medium is my favorite. Now I have to decide how much of the print I want to put on my canvas here and how much of the background I want to leave showing around the particular image of the door. I do find that if you start with more, it's a lot easier to trim it down than if you rip off too much and then you want it back. And yes, I have done that. So I'm going to trim around my beautiful door image and then decide how much of it I actually want on my painting. Now I did print this using tea bag paper, but you can use tissue. Wet strength tissue is really my favorite, and you will find more information in the description under the video if you want to know the art materials and supplies that I like to use. Now I'm liking these colors. I gave the surface a little wash over to see if there's any more silicone oil on it. Can't seem to see any, so let's move ahead. This is what we have at the moment. How much more shall I trim off is always the question. I'm really liking this top section of the print, but it's hiding my glorious alcohol ink pattern, and I think I like them more. So let's just keep trimming. I do think that the water technique of spraying it on the gel plate, creating this particular texture, works really well for this painting. And I'm liking this section here. Let's curve this side around a little like this. And perhaps we'll just trim up this bit like that. We'll glue that on, and I think that is a really beautiful addition to my fabulous painting. So what do you think of my fabulous jelly print on the painting? I love it. I do. It's colourful, a little bizarre, and today it's working for me. I love the way you can see the 47 there in the detail. Look how good that looks. Look at the detail on the door. It's a fabulous process, jelly printing, if you've never tried it. It is a wonderful technique. I think the colors are working well for the theme of the artwork now because it's a door from Venice. It has to be dramatic. Now, are we going to stop there, or are we going to push it right over the edge? It is now a mixed media collage painting, a little step further than the fluid art background. I'm thinking, let's go for it. So I've got this beautiful little trinket. I was using these in my Skillshare class, 100 Days of Collage. Yes, it's a bunch. You'll find that on Skillshare. And I'm thinking, let's add the key on the door What does it unlock? Where does it lead? The possibilities are endless. I love doors. I love the theme of them. I love the symbolism. And this one coming from my image from Venice is even more special. I'm thinking, let's put the key there. That's going to finish it off just beautiful. Once it's all really solidly dry in a week or so, I'm going to give it a varnish just to bring up all those lush colors, all those purples and oranges, and the black with the bronze through here. That's going to look amazing with a little bit of varnish on it. So a bit of PVA glue for my key. Nice and thick amount, and then I think that's going to finish the composition just beautiful. Of course, the glue will dry perfectly clear. Once it's dried, yes, I might have put on a little bit too much, but you want it to stick. So that'll dry clear. That's going to look fabulous on my beautiful Venetian door amongst the glorious colors and textures. Have a look at the close-up of how beautiful the painting is now. Considering I did struggle with this and I was experimenting with the silicone oil, it didn't go according to plan how I thought in my mind it was going to, and the colors were a little extreme. But we've pulled it together. We've created a beautiful mixed media collage out of the painting. It looks fabulous. It reminds me of my wonderful trip to Venice. The image transfer looks perfect on this background with the texture and the colors, and the key just finishes it off beautifully. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to check out my first channel, FroyleArt. There's lots of mixed media techniques, particularly jelly printing and collage. You can also find more of my classes on Skillshare. Just have a look in the description under the video for all the information. And I'll see you next time in the studio.